very good evening to you tuned into UBC TV, and welcome to our UBC News Tonight, this Wednesday the 18th of August 2021. It's me, Michael jORDAN LUKOMWA, with Elizabeth Nakakoni, who is still celebrating her birthday. We're taking a look at the top stories. Do not go anywhere. No cause for alarm over Afghan refugees, Minister Baryomunsi tells Ugandans. Education Minister Kaduchu threatens to close medical schools due to abuse of COVID-19 SOPs. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's UBC News Tonight. In our first story, government of Uganda has clarified that plans are still underway to have over 2,000 refugees from Afghanistan jet into the country, as opposed to what is reported that the first contingent was expected in the country as of Tuesday, the 17th of August 2021, which was yesterday. Minister for Information, Communication and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, in an interview with UBC, noted that government of Uganda is still engaging the relevant authorities as per the modules, and upon conclusion, a formal communication will be relayed to the public.
As opposed to what was communicated earlier by the Foreign Affairs Ministry in regards to receiving the first bunch of the Afghan refugees, the government of Uganda has rather given a contrary update.
Arrangements are still underway, and we are not yet at the point when the refugees will be flown into the country. And when that time comes, we shall officially announce that. So for now, it is premature to say that they were supposed to arrive yesterday. Arrangements are still underway, and once all that has been finalized, then we shall communicate officially, and you will see them arrive.
Though government says the process is yet to see a green light, but the move has attracted wide discussions across all divides, with some referring to it as a human gesture.
Why not? Ugandans were once refugees as well in other countries, and they were hosted well. Therefore, it's a noble duty for every Ugandan to welcome people from Afghanistan because they are fleeing persecution.
So if we have enough refugees from Congo, Southern Sudan, Ethiopia, everywhere, so many of them, do we need others from other continents? Why can't these Afghanistans go to either Russia or another neighbor?
These refugees, temporarily, as the arrangements are made to be sheltered elsewhere, and from a moral point of view, if people are running away from danger, it is not African to refuse them.
But what about the cost implication?
The United Nations High Commission for Refugees, UNHCR. So usually it works with the host governments to look after refugees, but most of the resources are met by the UN.
As a chief government communicator, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi waters down reports of sheltering them at Mandela National Stadium, locally known as Nambo.
Refugees footballers. That's not true. We have a lot of land in Uganda where we have refugee camps, and even if you don't have permanent structures, you can prepare temporary structures or even put structures in the very first very first period. So it's not true that they are going to be hosted from Nambole. We shall tell you officially when they are arriving and where they will be hosted.
Robert Onyango, UBC News.
A section of members of parliament have welcomed the move by government to host the 2,000 Afghanistan refugees. The members of parliament for Bujiri municipality, Basalirwa Asuman, defended the move on the basis of Uganda being signatory to UN treaties after some of his colleagues tasked government to explain the move. Philip Aguta was in parliament, and it is him that talked to the MPs.
The announcement by government that Uganda is ready to host about 2,000 refugees from Afghanistan has caused a lot of excitement among the people, mostly commending the beauty of Afghan women.
Item number 2.
Section of MPs have joined the public in welcoming the Afghan refugees, this time based on the laws Uganda signed with the UN.
Right Honourable Speaker, Uganda is a signatory to refugee conventions, and we have not yet renounced our obligations under that treaty, the refugee conventions. And the Honorable Anyoa is talking about Muslim friends. I am talking about the law and the position of Uganda. We are bound under treaty law, under the concept of Pacta Santa Servanda, to host the refugees, because we have obligations under the refugee conventions.
Honorable Gilbert,
yes,
you already have a law in place. What you only need to be informed, he needs to inform us. There is a law in place which was signed by your country.
Thank you. Right, our Speaker, it is true we have the law in place.
Procedure.
The response by Basalirwa and Deputy Speaker was after the legislator for Clark South, Gilbert Olanya, tried questioning the government's decision to host Afghan refugees.
Honourable Member, Madam Speaker, for raising this very important concern. On the related matter, Madam Speaker, we are reading on social media that Uganda plans to host more than 2,000 refugees from Afghans. Right Honourable Speaker, we would like to raise the following. Right Honourable Speaker, we are the third world, we are number 3 in the whole world as a country hosting refugees.
However, there were also questions raised by MPs about the plan by government to evacuate Ugandans working in Afghanistan.
Madam Speaker, hundreds if not thousands of Ugandans work in Afghanistan as private security guards under the employment of such private security companies. To extradite our people to their homeland, Uganda, to enlighten us on the arrangements to bring Ugandans back home.
The issue of our people are stranded in Afghanistan is really a serious issue. We need to treat it as an emergency because our people are suffering, are dying.
Afghanistan was plugged into chaos after the Taliban fighters took over the control of the country on Sunday, prompting the US to seek Uganda's intervention in solving the swelling Afghan crisis, a request to which President Museveni accepted with open arms. Philip Aguta, UBC News at Parliament.
The debate about foreign troops withdrawal from Somalia is back in Uganda following the Taliban overthrow of the Afghan government. The arguments and views suggest that Somalia still needs the African Union mission in the country. But are there any lessons for Somalia to learn from the situation in Afghanistan? In this story.
At the peak of the debate on the withdrawal of foreign troops from Somalia, we visited the Northeast African country in September 2019. In Lower Shabelle region, the security situation was calm thanks to the troops of African Union Mission to Somalia, or AMISOM, as goes its acronym. The training for these locally sourced security personnel was clear indication that the country for full security takeover.
We need them to at least those skill of marksmanship.
This building of capacity actually ignited the debate further of AMISOM withdrawal.
My appeal is for AMISOM to remain.
Good as it may have sounded, the proposal raised concerns for then AMISOM leadership.
Create the necessary conditions, okay, for AMISOM exit. AMISOM is not intending to leave. AMISOM is compelled to leave.
Nearly 2 years later, the Afghan situation has reignited debate on AMISOM withdrawal from Somalia. This follows the takeover by the Taliban militia of Afghanistan as a result of withdrawal of foreign troops.
I'm deeply saddened by the facts we now face, but I do not regret my decision to end America's warfighting in Afghanistan and maintain a laser focus on our counterterrorism missions there and other parts of the world.
As engagements continue on hosting 2,000 Afghans in Uganda, some Ugandans are worried of a similar situation befalling Somalia should AMISOM troops withdraw.
Because we have now reached a level of exporting peace, not only to Somalia, but also to other countries like Southern Sudan and a part of Congo, by the way. That's the truth of the matter. But should we, the AMISOM, Uganda-led AMISOM, withdraw from Somalia, you will see the other case of Afghanistan.
When Americans withdrew from Afghanistan, you see what has happened.
This therefore leaves some lessons to learn for the formerly war.
Yeah, because the people who are really dealing with stern aggression are still around.
Uganda pioneered the African troops peacekeeping mission in Somalia in 2007. The mission has since registered success, which could be lost should the troops withdraw unceremoniously. Henry Okurut, UBC.
A famous court bailiff, Moses Chirunda, was yesterday charged and remanded to Chitalia prison for allegedly murdering a city businessman. The 57-year-old Chirunda is said to have killed Mugwanya Majid, a resident of Chitunzi zone in Lunguja, a Kampala suburb. He is now battling the charge with Major Nelson Max Chatuka, a UPDF officer attached to the chieftaincy of military intelligence headquarters in Mbuya, Kampala.
Machindia Grade 1 Magistrate Sarah Basemera has remanded renowned court bailiff Moses Chirunda to Chitalia prison over alleged charge of murder. Moses Chirunda, 57, is battling the charge with his co-accused Major Nelson Max Chatuka, 50, and a UPDF officer attached to chieftaincy of military intelligence headquarters in Mbuya before the General Court Martial. He was remanded at Machindia Military Police Barracks until August 25th, when he will be back in court. Investigations reveal that on the fateful night of 14th July, about 9:30 p.m. at Lunguja Chitunzi, a vehicle purportedly belonging to Chirunda parked near a Harrier Pearl motor vehicle, registration 466A, white in color. Immediately, Chirunda and two others still at large, armed with a gun, marched to a Harrier, forcing the occupant to come out, but are pressed by State House Anti-Corruption Unit and the police. Before
also leaves a note behind for his successor.
In May 2021, this year, the ministry hosted government communicators in Chankwanzi, and we made some pronouncements. And one of the major pronouncements was that the communicators should have a platform where they indeed disseminate information in real time to the public. And the idea was we move it from the boardroom to the public through a government communications portal.
He also invites the new team at the ministry to give the utmost attention to the pending initiatives.
Mine is to request of the new leadership to implement the Digital Uganda Vision. The Digital Uganda Vision is a document that was crafted by the team on recognition and realization that the country was not adequately ranked on account of implementing projects in silos, and which projects were not feeding into the statistics.
Dr. Amina Zawede is now the new permanent secretary at the ICT ministry.
I pledge to build on what has been done. There is a lot that has been done, and there is a lot in the pipeline that we have to see to fruition. So I pledge to build on that and look forward to your support as a team.
The handover ceremony was presided over by the line ministers Dr. Chris Bariomusi and Godfrey Kabyanga.
From the political angle, we shall give you all the political support that you need for you to be able to do your work.
Let's have cooperation. Let us support the new permanent secretary. So I call upon you, the technical officers, to support the permanent secretary so that she is able to discharge her responsibilities with authority.
Bajira will now shift his energies to his new duties at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as the permanent secretary. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Ramadan Gobi, the new permanent secretary and secretary to the Treasury at the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, has been officially handed the office from Patrick Okailap, the deputy secretary to the Treasury, who has been acting in the position for 9 months now. The handover ceremony took place at the Finance Ministry's office in Kampala.
By thanking so much His Excellency the President of this Republic for entrusting me with the responsibility.
With a commendable history of more than 15 years as a senior economist, university lecturer and policy analyst, Ramadan Gobi's appointment has been massively welcomed in both the public sphere and government, with confidence that he is a worthy candidate.
And you come at a time when we are confronted with a huge problem where we have hit our debt ceiling. And but yet we still need a lot of money for the oil sector, for COVID, and so many other challenges. So you are challenged to see how we maneuver through.
Various economic policy makers at the Finance Ministry and Bank of Uganda witnessed this orientation. Patrick Okailap, the Deputy Secretary to the Treasury and Acting Permanent Secretary, read the handover report, which listed key assignments the new Permanent Secretary's office is to take up with immediate effect.
I have separately prepared a file on actions I have been handling on your behalf, following suspension of the board and some members of management of the Uganda Airlines by HE the President. I took on the assignment on your behalf, colleague, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Works and Transport, as interim board members. I'll separately, as I said, hand over this file to you, and of course, with the functions.
One thing I want to see from you is how to help these officers to develop new ideas. But you know, I told you last time, there is a bird which sings kuru kuku kuku kuru kuku kuku. Same song in the morning, in the evening, every day. No.
Ramadan Gobi joins the high table of Uganda's economic policy makers at a time when the pandemic is ravaging the economy. Expectations on him are high, but he maintains to let the results speak. Reporting for UBC News, Wadulo Mark Arnold in Kampala.
Makerere University Research and Innovations Fund has something new, but before that, the Clerk to Parliament, Honorable Adolf Mwesije, has also assumed office today following his appointment by His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni last month. The Deputy Clerk Corporate Affairs, Henry Waiswa, who has been acting clerk, handed over the instruments of power to Mwesije. That is the new Clerk to Parliament, the Honorable Adolf Mwesije. Makerere University Research has launched Round 3 awards aimed at driving the development agenda of the nation. The Round 3 of the Research and Innovations Fund consists of 123,710, with the main focus health, agriculture, nutrition, environment, technology, governance, and economic development.
Makerere University is striving to be the leading research-led university in the region.
And it's against this backdrop that Makerere University launched the third round research and innovation fund funded by the government of Uganda. The fund is aimed at boosting locally driven research agenda that nurtures homegrown and locally contextualized ideas for development and societal transformation. The chairperson, Makerere University Council, advised researchers not to work in silos but embrace interdisciplinary research that will enable multiple dimensions.
Today, that our research must look beyond the academic accolades and put Ugandans at the center. We undertake this research with funding from the taxpayer, and we must make the taxpayer the principal beneficiary of our research output. The grants we are receiving are public funds from taxpayers. The greatest accountability you can provide to our taxpayers is prudence in the fund utilization and improving the livelihoods of the populace through the research outputs.
To remind those who are getting the funds that the recipients of Mark 1 and Mark 2 have succeeded and accounted 99% for all the funds. I think the 1% that hasn't accounted, they are still in the field and they will also account. So it is a challenge to those who are getting the funds to see that indeed at Makerere we can get money and use it for its purpose and produce results.
Government Research and Innovation Grant is meant to fill research and innovation gaps, raising from development priorities of government and its implementing partners.
I want to congratulate all those and thank all those that respond to our calls. When we put out a call, we put out a call so that you bring what you know, your knowledge, for other people to benefit. By doing research and disseminating, let us embrace the vision of our leaders and we run with it, and Makerere will not remain the same.
Government has provided this funding so that researchers can come up with solutions and innovation outputs that will impact policy development and guide implementation. Zahara Abigaba, UBC.
Hearing of the electoral petition cases in Jinja High Court has entered day 3. Among the cases court is handling include that of Jinja East Member of Parliament, where Nathan Igeme Nabeta is accused of election malpractice at the Masese 1N to N polling station. Nabeta is being represented by Ahmed Kalulu of the Crane Associates Advocate.
For the guest chair to dispose of election petition, because largely it concerns issues to do with the people. I have an interest as a litigant, the population has an interest, and the country has an interest, because this concerns the governance of the country. That if when governance issues are messed up, the country is equally messed up. So today I'm happy that the judiciary has guided in the scheduling of our matter to see that there's an expeditious disposal of the election petition, because it is a matter where the public has an interest, the state has an interest, and myself have an interest as the petitioner.
At the end of that process on that day, the court will give us a date to start cross-examination.
Omusango tukaguwuliriza ate omusango gulimu eigumba ate n'ekindi bayidye bafigitinga balwana ino okwongeramu affidavit sedindi aife tukiikiriza kuba ife tuwawaba muntu tituwawaba gye yasomera ife tulwana kubona gwe bawandiisa n'oyo.
Medical schools not following the set standards to curb the spread of COVID-19 risk closure, according to the Minister of State for Primary Education, Dr. Joyce Moriku Kaduchu. Kaduchu this Wednesday visited Mulago Medical School to check on their operations, and our reporter has it in details here.
While issuing the directives during the lifting of the nationwide lockdown on July 30th, President Museveni listed medical students as a source of specialized human resources for the health sector. Last Friday, medical schools reopened as a measure to boost the country's number of health personnel involved in the fight against COVID-19. At Mulago Training School for Nurses and Midwives, classes and progress. The State Minister for Primary Education, Dr. Joyce Modiku Kabichu, and the Commissioner of Health Education and Training, Dr. Safina Kisumusene, visited the institution to check on how they are adhering to the set standards. Hand washing facilities, sanitizers and social distance were all in place.
Don't follow the SOPs coming tomorrow. But if you do very well, if you demonstrate that you are capable of following the standard regulations put in place during COVID, then that will open the door for the other colleagues who are still at home.
The Principal Mulago School of Nursing and Midwifery, Nampi Makakonge Eva, told UBC that students have been grouped into various streams to avoid congestion, adding that they are working hard to ensure all their students are fully vaccinated, besides studying in shifts.
Try to maintain and to keep as the Minister of Health's guideline, but the only challenges that we are having is the vaccination. And we've been assured by the director, Mulago Hospital, he said that when they get the vaccines, they are going to give us. We still hope tomorrow they are going to be given as per the pledge from the Mulago director. They are going to allocate some doses for the students and the tutors.
The minister urged all medical schools to follow the set standards to avoid possible closure.
What they are supposed to do. And by the way, they're exemplary because they are the ones going to manage the health of the people in Uganda. If they cannot manage to keep their own health, to keep the procedures, then how do we trust them to manage the people of Uganda, to take care of the health of the people of Uganda? So I call upon all the training schools, please, this time round, it's not going to be a joke. We're going to be strict. When we found you are not following the procedures, if there are no standard operating procedures, we rather close the school than subjecting the children to unsafe environment.
A total of 425 medical students, mainly finalists and second-year learners, have reported. The second group is expected in October this year. Other schools and learning institutions, together with places of worship, remain closed. Bernard Higa, UBC News.
A section of members of parliament are against the government initiative of children learning over radio broadcasts. According to them, the initiative is not favorable for students and pupils. Fajil Mande, an education consultant, says if this is to work, government should engage the district education officers in how it will succeed.
It is practical, only that it has got to be handled in a special way.
Government last week reintroduced a program of broadcast learning. Some members of parliament opposed the initiative, highlighting that many can't access radios and televisions out.
Learning through radios it's not achievable. It's very discriminatory, especially of the less privileged who are not able to own radios.
But if they give the slot time to specific classes, like say from P1 to P2 at this particular time, and the radio program will be running to such and such a time, I think that would be better.
Fajil Mande, an education consultant, says the initiative will work only if it will fully be supported by the Ministry of Education. He encourages government to engage district education officers for close supervision of the learners.
It is practical because already the children have been listening to radios, although not listening to academic work or educational work. They have been watching TV. Okay.
Fajil advised government and Minister of Education to make sure they sensitize the district officer as well as communicate more about the program and its benefits.
Only needs people to understand how to do it. And also more information on how the young people can use these programs.
However, some children seem not puzzled about returning to school, saying they have learned a lot.
I just want to stay home and I learn many things.
The children UBC TV managed to talk to don't support the radio and television learning sessions, as they explain.
That idea is not good because now some children don't have TVs and radios.
Fajil Mande urges parents to closely monitor their children as they attend the radio and television classes.
Parent out there, you mother and father out there, don't make your child lose out on this chance which government has offered to teach using the radio and television. Try to make sure that your child does not miss out.
Jane Nyiramchia, UBC News.
Malaria is a major public health problem in Uganda, and the country contributes significantly to the global malaria burden. In a bid to address the challenge, Ministry of Health entered a strategic partnership with President's Malaria Initiative through a 5-year USAID malaria action program that was initiated in 53 districts. However, the 2016-2021 malaria program has come to an end. During her remarks, United Nations Ambassador to Uganda, Natalie Brown, asserted that the U.S. government is committed to support the health care system, and she as well virtually opened Wabusana Health Center 3 that was renovated through the USAID Malaria Action Program.
COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted the provision of critical health services. This disruption means that we face new challenges to safely and quickly deliver much needed commodities like mosquito nets, testing equipment, and malaria treatments. What it means is that we still have more work to do. To overcome these challenges and to get back on track to reach malaria elimination, there are a few key things that we need to do. First, we need to maximize resources efficiency, this effort. So today I officially hand over the Wabusana Health Center 3. It impresses me to recognize that this is just one of more than 1,600 health centers that the United States has supported throughout this project over the past 5 years.
In an effort to curb down the malaria burden, government is working towards ensuring every sub-county has a healthy center 3.
Malaria remains a very big burden in this country. But we also appreciate that over the years since 2011, there has been a significant improvement or reduction in the prevalence of malaria in this country. The US government to promote good health for our people so that the funds or the taxpayers' money from the US government does not go to waste.
Despite government distributing over 10 million mosquito nets to different households across the country, malaria still remains a burden. However, Dr. Godfrey Magumba, head malaria consortium, says preventive treatment of malaria in pregnancy increased by 64% in 2019 and 68% in 2020.
Prevention of malaria in pregnancy through ensuring that pregnant women get their medications during their pregnancy at regular intervals, at least once a month for 4 months, so that the women themselves are prevented from getting severe effects of malaria, including death, but also the children that are yet to be born from these mothers are prevented from getting malaria.
Kasese RDC Lieutenant Joe Walusimbi has warned SACCOs and savings cooperative against conmen disguising as presidential statesmen only to swindle their savings. Walusimbi says that many complaints have been reported to his office related to defraud by conted were conned of more than 5 million shillings by people reportedly from State House.
Members of Kasese Municipality Retailers Cooperative Society Limited have expressed concern over savings heist by masqueraders reportedly from the office of the president. According to the chairperson of the cooperative, Mrs. Claire Asimwe, Haj Musa Rukandwa, together with his secretary Abbas Muyenje, started by asking for 200,000 shillings. Claire says the same men asked for 5 million shillings, promising to incorporate their cooperative with a plastics company, which would be giving them items to sell on retail, only to receive items not even equivalent to 2 million shillings.
Nibatusaba milioni 5 netuzibawa. Bwetwa milioni 5 nibatugamba ntugende Kampala tusayinige memorandum ne company eyo. Bwetwa kuba esimu twagala kugende Kampala nibatugamba musoke muleke. Bwe mpangise nyumba ebintu bijja. Muno waita omwezi gumu nze nengende Kampala nze nkakya person ne tula na meet n'aba members bange ne bagamba following sente za fezo. Ne ntuke Kampala ne bambuza ne bangamba tulira meeting tugenda mu handover ya DJ.
They say despite repeated consultations with top security personnel in the district to have their matter handled, the situation has remained the same. These now want the president to intervene into the matter and have the culprits penalized. The RDC has, however, sounded a warning to all cooperatives to beware of conmen and always ask for identification before dealing with such.
People who are well known that they are coming from State House or from higher offices of government, and we just always stay there to just go and receive wananchi that are coming from such a big office, and at the end of the day they play on their psychology and they say they take their money.
How the president will find the conmen, that is another story to tell. But we feel and stand with the people of Kasese that were defrauded of their 5 million shillings in the circle. We thank you so much for watching, and do not go anywhere. We'll return with more after this very short break. It's UBC News Tonight.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Century Points when you deposit, send, and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go, MTN.
When John and Mary were 6 years old, they were introduced to savings by their parents and class teacher. They set dreams inspired by their saving clubs at school.
I'm saving for a ball. I'm saving for a school bag.
As time passed by, the set dreams were achieved, and they were further motivated to set fresh, bigger and better dreams, all of which came to pass.
I'm currently saving to buy a bicycle.
I'm now saving for an academic tour.
Dear parents, guardians and teachers, it is our duty to empower our children and people around us to make reasonable monetary choices and introducing a lifelong money-saving culture. Now is the time to start saving for our dreams and a much better tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the German Corporation, German Sparkassen Stiftung, Eastern Africa, and Uganda Cooperative Savings and Credit Union.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.
Experience 100% 4G speeds across Uganda with the Airtel 4G Pocket Wi-Fi available at 123,000. It comes with a backup battery and 15 GB free for 1 month. Visit the nearest Airtel shop, device selling shop, or Airtel online shop. www.airtel.co.ug/broadband-discover. Airtel, the smartphone network.
The world record has been broken by almost exactly 2 seconds. He's Joshua Cheptegei of Uganda. This is superb running.
I've shared my story with the world.
with you, but you've only seen the half of it. Because to truly know and appreciate my story, you will have to see it for yourself. My home, my Uganda. From the breathtaking waterfalls of the Nile to every beautiful sunrise and sunset, from the amazing blankets of green to the priceless treasures that lie within. Along the way, I have met some unusual friends, the world-famous silverbacks. When I see them, I behold Uganda's treasures. So yes, you see me and celebrate Uganda. I assure you, there is a lot more in store. I have lived here for years, but even I am yet to see its full glory. Join me. Let's take on the Pearl of Africa together.
You know, you could just buy a new smartphone from anywhere in Uganda. Dial *175 *94# to activate their 100% double data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles for 3 months. Better yet, you automatically receive free 1 GB valid for 30 days. You are hooked already, aren't you? Enjoy 100% double data bonus from Airtel. Buy a smartphone from anywhere in Uganda and insert an Airtel SIM card. Dial *175 *94# to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Dial *175# and select your preferred bundle to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Airtel, the smartphone network.
UBC News Tonight, thank you so much for watching. We now go business. Local governments in western region of Uganda have given in the area. This follows the presidential directive that local governments should provide free land for the government to set up industrial parks throughout the country for both domestic and foreign investors.
Local government, we are coming in down to the grassroots because all local governments are under Ministry of Local Government as the engine of all implementation of all projects
of Mbarara, Rokongere, Kabale and Gisoro, which gave grossing 600 acres.
Our people must produce enough to make the industrial park productive, to enlarge our marketing, to add value so that the lowest person can benefit. I don't want government sufficient materials.
Ministers of State for Investment, Industry and that of local government received the free land on behalf of government.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
On her part, the State Minister for Local Government, Victoria Risoke, called on people to increase production and make the proposed industrial parks more productive and beneficial to the community.
So we are going to emphasize on mindset change. People should be changed to believe that what we are... When I look at the area where our park is going to be, and I look at the enterprises around, I think I will not be wrong to think of leather tanning, to think of baton making, to think of leather shoe making, belts and all things related to leather, even meat packing. People love our meat because of the indigenous cows around, so a lot must be done in line of that plus other.
Minister Evelyn Anite said that government will put in place roads, electricity, water and better communication facilities around these industrial parks to quickly attract foreign manufacturers and investors.
And we are also happy that just above there we have the state farm. The state farm. So there will be the value addition and the balance of security. All the amenities that we need are here, and the roads that they've already going to lead doing the construction of the roads.
Already planned.
So for me on my side and my team, I don't think we have any objection. No, we're okay with it. As government, we are going to do whatever it takes to develop the infrastructure and attract investors in that particular industrial park.
We want to create millionaires.
Ugandan millionaires, as many as we can, because that gives a stake in our own economy.
The establishment of industry and business create jobs for the youth in the country. Sudat Kaye, UBC.
State Minister for Agriculture Fred Bwino Chakulaga is concerned over farmers with poor harvest practices affecting the quality of Uganda's produce. The minister said this at the launch of the 5th Africa Agriculture Extension Week, where 40 African countries have confirmed to attend.
Uganda is to hold the 5th Africa Agriculture Extension Week from 14th to 20th November 2021, and 40 African countries are to participate with an intention to train extension workers. Along the team of extension workers, Minister Fred Chakulaga appeals for more support to local farmers to expand the market for their produce.
Shall be able to recruit very many extension workers to ensure that we just reduce the number or the ratio of extension worker to the population. The best way is to reduce that gap by being innovative.
The Executive Director, African Forum for Agricultural Advisory Services, assures continued support to Ugandan farmers.
AFAS and MAIF has very long-term collaboration, more specifically in its national development plans, NAIPs, and so on and so forth, right from
Muhwezi Deus, the Director Extension Services in the Ministry of Agriculture, highlighted on the importance of digitalizing agriculture.
We need to make sure that we digitize agriculture using this latest technology. For example, GIS satellite-based, so that, for example, you can be seated in Entebbe, but you can, for example, put in PG. You see what is taking place in PG. You see what is taking place in Amolata.
The 5th Africa Agriculture Extension Week is under the theme, Effective Agriculture Extension System for Sustainable Agripreneurship in Africa. Sebira Andrew compiled this report.
Today in history.
On 18th August 1995, a strong overnight storm triggered flash floods in the Marrakesh region of Morocco. This storm overflowed 3 rivers, Kigaya, Ourika, and Gamat, and this resulted into mudslides cutting out roads linking Marrakesh and other areas. The death toll was reported by the country's interior ministry to be 73 and possibly rising.
UBC News Tonight. Fallen UPDF General Pecos Kutesa has been described by colleagues as a man who meant what he said during his time of service. Kutesa, who according to the UPDF died while on admission at Max Hospital in New Delhi, that is in India, is one of the UPDF generals who were recently retired. Former Security Minister General Eli Tumwine vividly remembers his days of service with the fallen comrade.
And therefore we have lost one of the pillars of the national resistance movement evolution. But we shall remember him as we do to all those who contribute to the struggle. We shall not forget his contribution, and I want to thank his wife, Dora, who has also joined us in the bush and has been on his side to the extent of sharing part of her body with him. And therefore we encourage the children of Pecos and all the children of the national resistance movement and UPDF that the struggle continues. He has done his part. He has finished his race, and he has rested in peace. What it means is that we are here and we must live, whether we like it or we don't, and we should prepare ourselves to live anytime. So his best encourages us for us in the struggle, in the revolutionary struggle. Whenever one of us leaves us, encourages us, it strengthens us, it gives us bigger determination, fill his gap.
General Eli Tumwine commiserating the late Lieutenant General Pecos Kutesa. Uganda's first batch of silverbacks that is now in sport has arrived in Rwanda ahead of the Afro basketball tournament that starts next week. Uganda, that edged Morocco 77-65 to seal a place at the tournament, faced difficulties ahead of the play and was only bailed out on Monday by government that delivered a 340 million kitty in cash to facilitate their travel. But even that proved costly because the Federation of Uganda Basketball Association had borrowed money for the final qualifier window, during which the Silverbacks beat Morocco in Salé. So upon receipt of the latest 340 million from government, a decision was taken to clear the money lender that enabled the trip to seal qualification. This has been confirmed in a communication by FUBA President Nasa Serunjoji, who also confirmed they are in need of about 360 million shillings to facilitate this Afro basketball tournament, and also importantly clearing the money lenders' last penny. Under coach mICHEAL has only 5 players at his disposal. These are the Uganda best players, including Jimmy Enabu, Tony Driller, James Okello, Benjamin Komakech, and Titus Luaulu. These will be joined by the foreign best cast, mostly in Canada nation. Uganda is in Group D of this 16-team tournament and must negotiate Senegal, Cameroon, and South Sudan. Now, a section of members of parliament have called upon government to compensate weightlifter Julius Sechtoreko following whatever happened to him in Japan and his arrest when he was returned to Uganda. Our reporter has something here.
Submitted to the office of the DPP, and the DPP's opinion was that the suspect had not committed any offense known to the laws of Uganda. The DPP instead recommended for a disciplinary action against Sechtoreko outside the courts of law. The DPP accordingly ordered that Sechtoreko be released unconditionally.
As we have heard that Sechtoreko has a lot of debts here, I want to request the necessary authorities to at least help Sechtoreko, since he's a national champion, to get something in order to motivate other sports personalities.
And he was on the list. So it was part of the contingency. So on reaching there, after seeing it's like somebody falling sick, they wouldn't have rushed at telling him that now we give you a return ticket, as if they were the ones paying the costs. I think that one must have affected him to look for where to be during that period. So they would have handled it in a proper way. I think it was the running lesson for them. This does not rule out that whenever we take a contingent and they end up disappearing, should be the habit to encourage. No.
Must definitely compensate Julius Sechtoreko.
Because he was not in arrest in Japan or Tokyo. He could even say that I had gone to see a friend or visit a friend, which was not an offense. So the DPP, in her wisdom, advised police that there is no offense, you let Sechtoreko to go home. So the government should compensate him for his time and even his personality as a person, because they arrested him for 4 days and they put in the newspaper, they proclaimed him as a culprit, which affected his psychology, his family, and even his friends as per se. So if
he wants to get compensation, he can either go to human rights or go to court for that.
Madam Speaker.
I am just giving you a free advice, pro bono.
But for information, Madam Speaker.
We as this house cannot make that
arrangements are already in the advanced stages for sectoral court to seek redress in the courts of judicature over this.
No problem. I was giving you.
Members of Parliament there asking government to compensate Sechitoleko, and the Speaker advises that somebody to be compensated, he must seek redress from courts of law or with the human rights people. We'll be keeping you posted on whatever that will come up. Thank you so much for watching. That brings us to the end of all we had for you tonight, being that we have behind the headlines at 10 p.m. So this is all Newsroom had to give you. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Michael Jordan LUKOMWA with Elizabeth Nakakone and the whole team. We'll leave you with Molen Kenyana, who has something to tell us about what the weather will be tomorrow.
Yes, a very warm welcome to the weather report. My name is Molen Kenyana. Well, I want to say a good evening. Perhaps it's not a good evening to you, but because there is rainy conditions across much of the country this evening. Those started as we were heading into the afternoon across parts of Kampala. We did see those rains across Mityana, across Mukono, and also parts of Lake Kyoga. We did have Nakasongola as well, having to deal with those rains across Midwestern Masindi. Generally, most areas within the country have had to deal with rainy conditions this evening. But looking at our satellite images that are coming through, we're seeing that this was mainly because of the low pressure systems that have started to develop across the southern part of our continent now. Formerly, we did have high pressure systems, but now with the coming of these low pressure systems, we see that the rain belt has now shifted a little bit southwards, and thus giving us rains across most areas within the country. Now, we're monitoring this system, and it could actually go into the night, bringing us more wet weather conditions across different areas into tomorrow. But for now, let's take a look at our forecast for tomorrow. Well, in the morning, we're likely to start off with light showers. Those will be across the Rwenzori area. Parts of Kasese are expected to have those rains moving into the Lake Victoria Basin, as well as parts of Central. We do expect those rains as well across eastern Uganda, but the rest of the country will have to start off with a mix of clouds and sunshine. But later in the afternoon, we do expect more rains across most areas within the country, although the Karamoja region is expected to still be having those intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. Looking at our daytime highs, we're forecasting a maximum of 28. That will be across Kampala, and also for Kabale Highlands, we're likely to have temperatures quite cool at 24 degrees centigrade. Although a warm day is forecast across Karamoja, temperatures will be at 31 degrees centigrade. That is one to look out for if you're going up country. We're also forecasting a 28 that will be across western Uganda. Looking at some of the cities we have for you beyond here, we are forecasting rainy conditions across New York with temperatures at 30 degrees, sunny intervals, but a sunny day is forecast for Cairo, Johannesburg, as well as Dubai. But take a look at Dubai there. Temperatures are likely to go up to 42 degrees centigrade. That is quite hot. It's going to be a warm day over there. Well, that is all from the Weather Center for now. My name is Molen Kenyana. I wish you a good evening and have a good night.
The surroundings or conditions in which a person, plants and animals operates in is an environment. At this moment, we are the Ministry of Water and Environment headquarters in Luzira to share with the State Minister, that is Honorable Beatrice Anywa. I am Sama Lukwago on the program, Our Environment. With me is Honorable Beatrice Anywa. First of all, I would love to congratulate the Honorable upon the new appointment on behalf of the UBC family. Honorable, you're most welcome on the environment, and we're glad to have you. Please say hello to the viewers.
Thank you very much, presenters, and I'm delighted to be on the family of UBC. This is a government corporation, and always you are with me as far as the environment is concerned. And listeners out there, at least the whole week I've been on UBC, airing and making appeals on how together we can move the protection journey of the environment. Nice to be with you.
Thank you. We're glad to have you too, Honorable. First of all, briefly, Honorable, would love to know who Honorable Beatrice Anywa is.
Hatim Anywa, Beatrice is my name. I'm a mother. I'm a born of Kitgum. My late parents from Chua, Namora Okiri. Academically, I've studied up to master's level. I've been a politician. For the last 20 years, I've been engaged in political journey. I'm an activist. I'm especially very passionate about women affairs, about the environment. And I'm a Catholic, passionate Catholic who love my region, and I'm guided by that. My conscience is guided by that. And I'm a happy lady whom I can say I'm an empowered woman. I thank the President, I thank the NRM government that lifted me from the ordinary activism and housewife into a political arena, and I've grown from that. I was just an MP, a woman MP, affirmative action. I went and I'm being empowered. So I'm an empowered woman, and I hope I will replicate the empowerment to the ordinary woman. And I love humanity.
And of course, very hard work. Very hard work.
I don't blow my own trumpet.
We appreciate the work you do, Honorable. First of all, I'd love to know what is the mission for the ministry?
My ministry is heading the ministry. And our vision is that we need to have sound management and sustainable utilization of water and environment resources for the betterment of the population of Uganda. That's our vision that we are looking to. And our mission is just to promote and ensure that the rational and sustainable utilization of development and effective management of water and environment resources for socio-economic development of this country. So we work within those missions and vision to guide us as we move. We have a senior minister, we have a state minister for water, and we have a state minister for environment, speaking Mama Mabira here. By the way, I forgot to say that I'm the Mama Mabira. At least the only mother of both human beings and trees, and Ugandans gave me that, and I am appreciative. So we have this sector, we are managing the water sector, and we have the environment sector. As you are aware, we have urban water, and the minister concerned has the details. In my sector of environment, I have I have the NEMA, which are really regulating, those are custodian of the wetland, managing them on behalf of the ministry. We have the environment on the trees, the forest, central forest reserves, and even the forest on the private land, because we also do advise and guide our farmers. Then we have meteorological department that forecast the weather forecast of this country. So those ones are directly under my docket, and that's what we normally do to ensure that the information around the three agencies are coordinated and managed, and they report directly to this office. Now, however, we do cooperate with other agencies of government, because you know that when we are talking about water for production, then we have agriculture coming on board.
That's true.
And therefore we have even land, Ministry of Land, because these resources are also on land. So we do cooperate with other government agencies, and we work quite well. More so this time, maybe I will quickly go on to looking at what is at stake. That maybe we need to again highlight more to see that it's not going to be business as usual for the benefit of listeners out there.
Yes.
Yes, this is the background I've just given, but what is at stake? What tickles us, this is what we have been doing, it's not working out as expected. Allow me just to let the viewers know that really we have had a decline. In the last 20 years, we have had a decline in the wetland cover, which was from 15.6% to only 8.4%. We have seen the forest cover reduced from 24% to only 9%. We have seen our most celebrated bird, the crested crane. We had about 1,000 species, but we have now only 10,000 species. And the water quantity, we had about 66 cubic meters, but now we have only 43 billion cubic meters. So these are indicators that not all is well. And more so, the effect of climate change is real. It has actually caught up with us. That's why you see rampant landslide, flooding, drought, unpredictable weather, and this is even going to cause food insecurity. Yes. And where there's food insecurity, there's country's insecurity. All these are illegal structures. They are in the water, in our lake shores, and they were not sanctioned by NEMA. But people don't listen. I think Ugandans, this is the moment of truth. The Uganda say, what you wanted an axe to cut, now the storm has done the work. Everything is at stake, and we must wake up. And there are so many reasons people give that because population is increasing, the pressure of urbanization is the one which people are putting on our natural resources, and hence it has reduced. But we as a government of the NRM, spearheaded by His Excellency the President, we have looked critical at this. We have to manage these resources, God-given. God gave us a brain to manage them, and we have looked at it. It is not going to be business as usual. I keep on talking about this because something radical ought to be done to turn it around. We have looked at if it is the population pressure, what should be done so that we ease the pressure on our natural resources. If it is job scarcity, what should we do so that we engage the population, especially the youth, in other productive way rather than letting them degrade the environment? You know, all these perspectives we have looked at. Poverty. People say poverty, poverty. What have we done about this? How are we turning around? We have a running program of government, and we are trying to divert the minds, sensitize the minds of people. We are poor in our mindsets, but if we look outside the box, we are not poor country. We have our natural resources. Can we use the natural resources in a more sustainable way? Hence, benefiting from it, but yet not destroying it. Yes. Now, the population must everybody be in the urban center. Uganda is an agricultural-based country. We have so much of land outside there. The problem is that people have been cultivating for subsistence survival, just food. You have heard the president say, chida chonka, fume chicken in my language. And that is it. And people are like comforted. As a government, we're saying that should move. We have to move from subsistence farming to commercial farming. You know, that means it drives people from the urban centers, go into in the countryside, use the available land to produce for more than you can consume. The balance, you are going to earn money. Then the issue of poverty, the issue of employment is handled. You are using the land available. We shall advise you. Government has put in place mechanization. NADS is in place. Wealth creation, we are providing seedlings, even farming, even the experts, we have them extension workers. These are already in place to answer that. So we look forward, once all these are in place, that we shall not have the pressure we are talking about of the growing population. The growing population should be of advantage to Uganda, that we shall engage them productively, then we shall be able to produce beyond the subsistence use and earn a living. So many crops have been brought on board as cash crop. From the original coffee, cotton and the like, we have also brought on board other products which have become now for cash crop and ready for export. Fruits, the avocados, these are maize, are now on board. So people have a choice of what they can grow for commercial purposes, rather than just sticking to the original coffee, cotton and the like. Now, we are saying, well, those who are stuck in wetlands, like those who are growing rice, we are giving them alternative. We want to increase productivity. As a government, we are saying people should leave the wetlands. No more growing of rice in the wetlands. Then people say, but what shall we do? Where are we going? We can still use our natural resources in a more sustainable manner. Can we have fish ponds? How much can each pond produce vis-a-vis you digging your rice the whole of wetland and putting it at risk? We can only have a square of fish ponds along the side of the wetland. While not everybody should cry poverty when we have all these resources. Now, what is still at stake and why we have taken radical decisions? Actually, I repeat my president's word, it is a war, because things have gone wrong and people's mindset is that they are resisting this because they have not understood. We have not explained to them fully that you can live more comfortable and in a sustainable manner on our natural resources without destroying them. We have already given issues, we have issued out no more certificate of no objection from NEMA. We are going to engage those who are in the wetlands, in our forest covers illegally, and advise them to leave so that we regenerate it. If they don't listen early, because some maybe they will think it's going to be business as usual, but this is a war commanded by the Commander-in-Chief, His Excellency the President, maybe in ranks, maybe I'm just a private or colonel down here, but he's the one spearheading it. You and me, we are part of the combatants to fight this war because it benefits all of us. So the sensitization will go on. We shall engage the people. We are saying that factories, we used to think that they're the only one giving us maybe jobs, but to degrade even the environment more. So we don't want them to be in the wetlands. If they want to put up factories, because putting up factories in the wetlands is very expensive. Sure. And actually it's not done by the poor people. It's done by the rich one. It was in the wetland and in the forest. So all this is not pleasant activity.
Actually, it is a campaign, Honorable, that you're championing. But we still have a question. We've seen you battling with such people in wetlands, battling with people who are in forest reserves. And of course, you've also done a campaign of banning Kavera, Honorable. This time around, how different is it going to be actually to take away all these people who are in wetlands? We are aware that those rich people that you've mentioned have factories, have companies in these wetlands. So how are you going to do it this time around, Honorable? We've seen you battling with this, and actually that's made you become Mama Mabila. So how different is it?
Not me. It was our war.
It was a war, but this time around, how
this
is it going
war?
to
But
be
that
different?
war was commanded by a junior person who is me. And the difference is that this time, the war we have launched is commanded by the general. And that the general is His Excellency the President.
So that makes it a difference.
That's a big difference. The political will is huge. It's huge.
Yes.
So when you hear that I'm staying in this wetland, I'm in this forest, I have orders from above. Now the above is the commander-in-chief of this war. So that's the difference. We should give comfort to everybody. We have launched a 10-year restoration program.
Yes.
Spearheaded, the chairperson of it is the first deputy prime minister. And we started our meeting yesterday. And we have all these other water, we are the ones who are hosting it, Prime Minister's office. So all these are now on. We are going to call on the civil society.
Okay.
These are our partners. We are going to call on partners, in our development partners. We are going to call on the religious institutions. We are going to call on cultural institutions like the Buganda Kingdom, the Kingdom of Sarasajja Kabaka. Okay. He has been with us, especially when we were conserving, we are protecting the Mabira forest. I rely on them too. They are my friends out there. The Nape Accord, these are people who have been at it. And you, the media houses, we are going to engage into blacklisting some of these. The Baganda say, bananta ampulira. Bananta ampulira. Now also you don't know the Luganda?
It is actually omuntu atawulira waba tawulidde, of course a severe action has to be made.
Ante muliwo Oluganda name ab'empuutu kulokuba sorry, I'm now going to Uganda, whatever. But these are people who, even if you sound a warning, they know that really where they are, probably they got that place really, either they were cheated, but they didn't do due diligence, but they're adamant, they don't want to move, they don't want to respond. But what is also new this time around, we're not only going for those who are illegally in the wetlands and the forest, but even our officer, government officials, who knowingly, due to corruption, they have issued those titles. And this is a strong warning. That's the difference. You are a government officer. You are knowledgeable of the boundaries of our natural resources. And you go ahead and issue a title. You give a certificate of no objection. Sometimes, okay, NEMA also has been bashed double. Some have done it wrongly, but others give a certificate of no objection with the guidelines. Don't do this, don't do this, do this, do that. But the same adamant people, they just have an entry point and then they continue full blast, dumping the soil in our wetlands. And then when you go to talk to them, they are protected. This issue of being protected by the soldiers, their guns, the commander-in-chief of the guns in Uganda is His Excellency the President. And he's the commander of this war, which we are launching. He's soon going to address the nation through the parliament, people's representative. And that is when the orders from above will now stop. So this is different.
It is total war.
It's different.
Okay, that means, Honorable, that means that those
that is the word.
According to the Honorable.
This is, I think, my fourth meeting.
Yes.
We have just met the media network. and I'm meeting the mighty station whose voice reaches the whole of Uganda.
Yes.
My partnership is important with the media houses.
Okay.
I would want them to be our mouthpiece, and that's why I also included institutions. We want the religious people to say it through the churches. We want the cultural institution to say to their subjects. No, we want the civil society. And they have been doing this. We have literature which is already produced. We have a program, running programs like this one. These are evident that alternatives are already there and other people have already benefited. Development partners have put in some money to ensure that our people live a degrading way of livelihood into more sustainable, profitable livelihood. So this is different, and it gives me more energy and comfort. And I want people to take it like, I don't know which mother would want the child to be killed. So whenever I'm always referred to as Mama Mabira, the mother of the forest, I said, this is my child, I must fight up to the end.
Of course.
So, and that's why I'm saying this time around what is different also. We normally say, let's go and plant trees, go and plant trees. No, you go and just dump it there. You don't care whether it has enough rain, water, or the fire is burning it. It's different. We want us to grow. Yesterday I missed one of the important. How do you hurt your friend? Huh? How do you hurt a child you have named, you have given a name? Like now for us, we are grandmoms. That is a reflection of me. And I take personally, that is my friend, I need to nurture to make it grow. So we are going to cure that. As a country, we have a national, we are going to make a pronouncement, the president knows when. Okay. We have a national planting day, where each of us go and produce your child.
Let's fall in love with the trees,
yes.
With the nature.
Yes, hug your tree. Yeah, nature has protected us. And I keep on referring Ugandans. You ask me what is different. I think also the coming on board of COVID.
Yes.
It should be an eye-opener.
That's true.
Nature has been sustaining us. Nature has been giving us fresh oxygen, free of charge. But people have tested how expensive oxygen is. If you can't breathe and you are taken in the ICU, within a short time, how much does it cost you?
A lot of money.
But our nature, since time immemorial, has been giving us free, fresh oxygen. Therefore, we must protect the source of our oxygen. 2, we have seen this forest, for example, this nature, Mother Nature, is a gold mine. A gold mine. Why? The breakthrough which we are going to have as a country of COVID-19, where does it come from? If we cut down all the trees, people are grasping to see where do they get a solution to COVID. Globally, it's going to be a pride, fellow Ugandans, if Uganda is producing a solution to COVID. All walks of life, we are the suppliers, a solution to COVID in the world. That's a pride for Ugandans. And where does it come from? There are forests. And many more. I've just been from another meeting. We are soon coming up with another outbreak and another solution, all based in the forest.
Sure.
What about the wetland? What about the ecosystem? No? So this is what is at stake, and this is what people should appreciate. And therefore, I think conservation of the environment, we don't have an option. We have tested it, the landslides, when it rains, the flooding. No? These plastics, must we have them? So I can say, nature is speaking. Ugandans must listen. I thank UBC. You're already doing a tremendous work. You have reached me. I just want to encourage you to reach out to Uganda to embrace.
We also have enough air.
It is intellectually engaging.
And you can only become a leader when there are problems.
So what are we federating?
Whether rats from another country can be, I mean, somebody must be there to hold everybody accountable.
But at the moment, we would rather deal with what we have, make it right.
First of all, we as elites of Uganda, we have made Museveni the issue. I can tell him Museveni is not the problem of Uganda. The problems of Uganda are much deeper. We can change the next 20 presidents and we'll still be this roundabout.
Deeply incisive.
The different political forces that we have in the country, in the country, we don't seem to really have achieved that minimum political consensus over certain things.
Authentically symbolic and insightful. Behind the Headlines, every Wednesday at 10 p.m. with Charles Odong Tor. All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.